Hey everybody, it's Damien from Guitar Journey here, and I have a really cool idea for you today. I'm not even calling it an exercise or a drill or anything like that. It's just an idea. You know, as guitarists, we spend a lot of time practicing our scales, working on our licks, working on our rhythm, working on our strumming, maybe playing along to jam tracks or backing tracks, and all of that is good. It's definitely important and beneficial to be doing all of that. But it's also a very good idea every now and again to disconnect from structure and just play. Play without an agenda. Play without a practice goal. Just play and really connect in a very deeply personal way with your instrument. So what I want you to do today is pretend you're a rock star. Really, pretend you're a rock star and you're on a stage at some stadium. And you know how it is. Before the concert, before the performance, the lights go down and there's a spotlight on you, the lead guitarist. And the rest of the band isn't playing. It's only you playing. And you start to play a melody, a lead. Just you, no accompaniment. Just you connecting with your instrument, playing from the heart. And the reason I want you to do this is because when we disconnect from structure, no specific scale practice, no jam track, no rhythm, no beat, no meter to stick to, no chords to be guided by in your melody, your improvisation, no structure at all. When that's the case, you can play totally freely, without necessarily being bound by a sense of meter or a sense of harmonic structure or anything like that. You can change keys on the fly if you want. You can change modes on the fly. If you're just playing, as I said, connecting with the instrument in a very personal way, as you do this, no backing track or anything like that to fill up space, you've got to make every note count. And you've got to be as expressive as possible. Now, of course, as an aside, we should always be making every note count, right? Not just in this idea. We should always be making every note count, and we should always be as expressive as possible. But that being said, in this kind of a setting, you're really out on a limb. You're on your own, and you want to be listening very actively, very deeply listening to every note. And you want to be as expressive, as soulful as possible. So in terms of being expressive, maybe you're going to execute a lot of bends, a lot of slides, a lot of vibrato, pull-offs, hammer-ons, whatever else you might like to do to bring out the most from every note. And as I said earlier, you can change keys on the fly, you can change modes, you can do whatever you want to. And I think it's probably correct to say that most people don't spend time doing this, or they don't spend much time doing this, truly, deeply, actively listening to their instrument, connecting with their instrument. A lot of us don't spend much time simply striking a note and cherishing, luxuriating in the sound that we're creating. And as much as I do recommend that you do all the structured work, practice your scales, work on your rhythm, refine your picking technique, play along to backing tracks, and everything else, sometimes we just need to disconnect from structure and connect with the guitar. So I'm going to give it a shot right now, and maybe it'll look something like this. Now, there was nothing magical about that. I didn't do anything that's going to make anybody's jaw drop, but it sounded fairly nice, and I felt pretty connected with the instrument. I was going slowly. I was trying to listen, really listen to the significance of each note. Now, some of you might be saying, okay, but if you're just playing in an unstructured manner, isn't that just kind of noodling around? I get that point, but to me, if you're truly engaged in what you're doing, truly listening, truly making every effort to connect with your instrument and be as expressive as possible, then you're not really noodling around, even though you're not playing with a sense of specific structure. Now, on the other hand, you might be uncomfortable just trying to play from the heart, trying to play intuitively. Connect, as I've been saying. You might not be comfortable with that idea. It's almost like too much freedom, and you're just kind of like, what do I do? That's okay, don't worry. Here's another approach that you can try that pretty much accomplishes the same thing. Start by learning a simple melody. Start with a melody to a song that means something to you. And get the melody really comfortable in your fingers, and then try to work on expressing that melody in as beautiful a manner as possible. In fact, take some liberties with it. Add some bends, some slides, some hammer-ons, some pull-offs, some heavy vibrato. Add or subtract a few notes. Make it as personal and as expressive as possible. So just to give you an example of this, I'm going to take a melody that I have always found to be very beautiful, which is the hymn Amazing Grace. And I'm going to play it up here in the key of E major out of my root 6 pentatonic scale with my pinky here at the 12th fret of the 6th string right here. And what we find is that Amazing Grace fits beautifully, perfectly into my major pentatonic scale. Quick aside, by the way, a lot of the old gospel spirituals actually do fit very neatly into a major pentatonic scale. You think about not only Amazing Grace, but songs like Will the Circle Be Unbroken, Do Lord Remember Me, many others, they fit very squarely into your pentatonic major scale. In any event, I'm going to play Amazing Grace really, really straightforward here in E major, and it's going to sound something like this. So that's Amazing Grace. Now I'm going to play it in a more personally expressive way. Now, honestly, maybe you won't like what I play. Maybe I won't like what I play. And that's totally fine, because in your case, if you don't like what I play, well, you can play it yourself, and you can play it in a way that's deeply meaningful to you, or you can choose another melody and play it in a way that's meaningful to you. It's your personal expression that's the key here. That being said, I'm going to give it a shot, playing it in a way that kind of works for me, and we'll see how it turns out. And again, I want to emphasize, the intent is not to play something that would be impressive to other people. It's not the idea. The intent is not to deploy every last fancy scale run or every last sweep-picked arpeggio or whatever. The idea is just to listen to every note, to feel the significance of every note, to express the melody in a way that is meaningful to you as an individual musician. We're not trying to impress anybody. We're just trying to listen on a very deep personal level and connect with our instrument. So give it a shot, okay? Set aside some time, maybe before your practice or, maybe after your practice when you're good and warmed up. Shut everything else off. Shut everything else off. Shut off the metronome. Shut off the jam tracks. Shut out the distractions. Begin to play and really listen, really connect. And as I've been saying, feel the significance of every note. Luxuriate in the sound that you're creating. Cherish it. I know it's a cliche, but it really is true. Your instrument, the guitar, is an extension of yourself. So this is a very deep, very personal practice. And in my opinion, it's an important part of our having a holistic, personal musical experience. All right, so that's all I have for you today, okay? Thank you very much for watching. And as always, please hit the subscribe button. There's a ton of content here on the Guitar Journey YouTube channel, and there's a ton more content coming all the time from lesson videos to jam tracks to just sort of personal tips on getting the most out of your own individual guitar journey. So please hit subscribe. And as always, please leave a comment. I always say, we're building a community here. And whether you agree with me or you disagree with me, that's fine. Maybe you feel that I left something out, I should have highlighted, I should have mentioned something. Leave a comment so that we can all learn from each other and so that we can enrich each other's guitar journeys. Thanks so much. Have a great day.